Hey everybody, welcome to beautiful John Wayne Airport. I'm Bill, and this video is a little bit different than any of the other videos on the channel. So if you like this new format, comment below, let me know what you think. We're gonna talk about this absolutely gorgeous Cessna 177 Cardinal behind me here. This is the plane that Julia and I will be flying pretty much predominantly from here on out, and I could not be more excited. It's a unique plane. You don't see them a lot. It's a Cessna. It's got a lot in common with 172s, but it has some very key differences that I find very interesting, particularly as a car guy. There's some things that Cessna did with the Cardinal that I think mirrors what some automotive manufacturers have done throughout the history. So I want to just do like a little walk around of some of the key things that I find interesting about the Cardinal. And then we're gonna go take it for a little flight. We're gonna hop down to Oceanside for a quick little lunch run, meet up with Julia's parents. So I only have a handful of landings in this. I'm really starting to feel comfortable with it, but we'll see how well I can land it on camera for the first time, so no pressure. First off, before we go into some of the details on the unique aspects that I enjoy about the Cardinal, just a little bit on the specs here. So I'm gonna read from probably the best resource for Cardinal information, which is cardinalflyers.com. If you're interested in these planes, definitely check out that website. So this is a 1973 model. I think it was built in late 72, but it's a 73 model on the certificate. They have 0360s, 180 horsepower. That sounds familiar. It's because it's very common. The Piper that we have been flying has 180 horsepower. The 172s that all of us pretty much fly have a 360 of some sort, 180 horsepower. So this is very much a trainer in terms of performance, but there's some other things about it that make it a little bit less trainery, which we'll talk about. So 0360, 180 horsepower. Max cruising speed, everything is in miles per hour in the plane, which takes a little bit of adjusting, getting used to that, but just for I'll use the knots numbers just for context. The max cruising speed is 132. The recommended cruising speed is 123. So despite it having the same horsepower as the 172 that we all know and love, it's a little bit slipperier, and it's got a constant speed prop. So it is noticeable, like actually flying and up in cruise, it is noticeably quicker even when you just look down at the ground. But speed-wise, time to destination-wise, in the few, half dozen flights that I've done in this plane already, it is significant. It's very noticeable. It's got the standard fuel tank set up on this plane, so it comes in two flavors, standard and long range. So 50, which this plane has, and 61 on the long range. Let's see, maximum gross weight is 2,500 pounds. Useful load. So max useful load with full fuel on the Cardinal, kind of generalized. Obviously, weight and balance will vary depending on individual plane, is about 685. That's kind of like the standard number. That is where the Cardinal kind of falls down versus the PA-28 line of planes, is the useful load is lower. So generally speaking, this plane, although it has 4 seats, is really a great 2-person kind of medium distance plane. 2 people and luggage, full fuel is kind of the sweet spot for this plane. So the standard tank range is 850 nautical miles, and that's with no reserve, obviously. So it can do long flights, and it's got a lot of luggage room, which we'll look at when we kind of look at the interior of the plane. But overall, it's like trainer plus is the way that it's kind of felt to me, where it feels like a 172, it lands like a 172-ish, but it has just a little tiny bit more performance and capabilities than the standard trainer. Now that we got all the specs and stuff out of the way, I want to talk about some of the things that I really like about the Cardinal. And starting with the front, it's got a constant speed prop. As a private pilot that's kind of been in the 180 horse realm for a while, also with high performance complex rating, Adding the constant speed prop to a plane like this is really fun because it's like one more lever that I can mess around with. The Piper Archer that we've been flying, it's ridiculously easy. This has that extra prop lever, which I have, like, sounds kind of silly, but it's fun to play around with that. It's like we're at an airport or something. So this is one of the contributing factors to the extra cruising speed that Cardinals have over, you know, Cherokees and 172s, which then leads to the frontal view of this plane, which I think is really freaking cool. This is a really pretty looking plane. I am partial in general to low wings. I love Bonanzas. I love Comanche, like that one over there. I love, you know, the Cherokees. I think they look really cool. But for a high wing plane, I think this is the best looking high wing plane around. It's got the strutless wing, similar, I don't think it's exactly the same, but it's a similar wing to a 210. So there's no strut like a 172 has, which cuts down on that parasitic drag, helping the cruise speed. And then the windshield is raked back like crazy. It contributes to kind of a weird sight picture when you're sitting in the plane because we're a little bit, it feels like you're further back, but another contributor, I believe, to the extra cruise speed. And I think that if we kind of come here to the side view, that it really makes it look fast. Again, it's only a 180 horsepower plane, so no different than, you know, whatever, 172S model or whatever. But that raked windshield, the fact that the leading edge of the wing is so far back gives it a really sleek look that I really like. That then brings me to the side window, which is a very weird thing to call out on a vehicle, but I find the design of this side window very cool, and it really is probably the biggest visual connection to what I think this plane represents within Cessna, and that is a way of thinking that is very similar to Porsche when they made the 928. So 911 is the Porsche Halo car, right? Their top of the line car. Thanks, United. Right on time. So the 911 is, you know, the flagship car for Porsche, and it was super popular. And then in the late 70s, early 80s, they wanted to kind of fix some of the issues that were inherent with the 911. Chiefly among them being the engine was in the wrong place. So they designed the 928. So that was their new top of the line, top of the range model, was the 928. So front engine, V8, they did a bunch of different things. Super advanced car at the time, but it failed. And it didn't really fail. Obviously it was a great car, and it's got a cult following, but it didn't have the same impact in the industry as the 911. That's kind of how I feel the 177 fits into the aviation space. Obviously, it's not the top of the range of anything. 172 isn't the top of the range of anything, but the 172 was and still is the most popular airplane on ever. And the 177 was designed to be the replacement for the most popular plane of all time. And it didn't catch. They stopped making it, I think, in the late 70s. So it had a very short run. There were some safety issues early on that gave it a bad reputation. But when you look at things like the strutless wing, you look at the door hinge, where the door actually hinges, is so far forward than a 172 that it enables you with the cool strut that this plane has. You can get into a Cardinal without ducking under the wing. So it opens up super wide and you just walk right in, turn around and sit down into the plane. And, you know, not that it's a big deal in a 172 having to duck underneath the wing. I'm 6'5", so I have to duck under a lot of stuff, but it's one of those small design changes that they made that showed some innovation and so showed some engineering that made the plane better. And that's, you know, when you look at a bunch of different components of this plane, they made the 172 a little bit better here and there. And that's kind of the overall reason why I love this plane, is that way of thinking that we're gonna take every little bit that we did before and make it a little bit better. Now, it didn't catch, unfortunately, for the Cardinal, because I think it's a great plane. But this door and just the usability of getting into and out of the cabin is a quality of life improvement that really, and this plane can't be overlooked for what type of aircraft this is. Tons of space in the back, and it's really easy to access and get in and out. So the door might sound like a kind of a silly thing to call out as a favorite part of an airplane, but it's a highlight of what Cessna tried to do with the Cardinal, improving on the 172. Okay, so now we talked about the front, we talked about the looks, the door, the usability, the wing. Now I want to talk about a design aspect of this plane that's very fascinating that I know very little about. So I am going to talk about it in the most general terms, because I don't know. If you know more about this than me, or frankly any of this, leave a comment below, because I would love to learn more about this. One of the issues with the plane early on, the first model, had to do with the elevator, and it's a stabilator versus an elevator. So it's closer to a Piper in that sense, that the whole control surface in the back here, the whole elevator moves up and down, not just a hinge like the 172. So 172, you know, there's a hinge right here, and the trailing edge of the elevator moves. So this, they went with the stabilator. Again, I am not smart enough to know really the advantages or disadvantages between the two, but they had issues where it was getting shadowed. And the fix is a slot. And when Brad was first telling me about the slot on the elevator, I'm thinking a slot or a slat like on a 737 that's probably gonna interrupt this video at any point. But if my cameraman can come around here and look at, it's an actual slot that they put in the leading edge of the elevator. So this, when there's a high angle of attack on the elevator, enables airflow to go underneath, start from the top and go underneath the wing and stop that airflow disruption that caused early problems for Cardinals. Now, again, I don't know really the whole story behind that or what this actually does from an aerodynamic perspective. It's just a cool thing that if you are not a Cardinal expert, it's really easy to overlook this. So next time you see a Cardinal, check for the slot. It's a later model plane. Other than those specific things, just the overall look of this plane I think is beautiful. Even the rear 3/4 view, it's got kind of an abnormally large tail and rudder. So we got a lot of rudder authority. You've got no split window, so it's kind of got a 182 style rear window, so there's a ton of visibility. Very thin pillars around the plane, so just visibility in general is great. No strut on the wing means you just got all the view, the view of the world below you, unobstructed pretty much. And I just think it's really pretty. Again, it's 180 horsepower, high wing Cessna. It's a trainer, but it has, cowl flaps. It has constant speed prop. It's got, the cruising speed. It's got the range. It has the looks. I really think this is one of the coolest general aviation planes around, and I am really excited to do a lot of flights in this thing. Hopefully show you guys a lot of them. We have some really fun things planned. We're gonna try to fit some golf clubs in the back here and travel to a couple of regional golf courses. We'll see if that turns into a watchable video or not. But cool, guys. Okay, so that's enough talking about Cessna 177B Cardinal. Let's go fly this thing. So I'm gonna finish up the pre-flight and you're going to join us. Where are you gonna join us? You're gonna join us right as we got our takeoff clearance out of John Wayne.
So 343.5, John, are you ready?
Ready to go, Cardinal 835.
Cardinal Runway 35, traffic on the upwind is in the pattern. Runway 20 left to kilo, clear for takeoff.
20 left to kilo, clear for takeoff, Cardinal 34835. Lights, camera, action, cleared left, cleared right. So I'm just gonna kind of walk through the takeoff procedure here.
I'm sorry, what's the additional traffic 4 miles?
So we got everything full. Make sure to lean, or make sure full rich, prop is full. Temperature, pressures look good. And give it some power. There's full power set. And it should start coming off at 70 miles per hour, which is right there. And it's just gonna kind of float off there. Pull the prop back to 2500, get on my offset there. It's a nice little green light on the tack that tells me when I'm at below, or in the green basically. So there is the climb out at a John Wayne on the 150
Cardinal 35, radar contact, maintain VFR at or below 2,400, say altitude.
Climbing through 400, Cardinal 34835. So, for climb out in this plane, again, it's a trainer, so it's not overly complicated. But there's a little bit more to do. Keep cowl flaps open, summertime, it's warm, and you want to climb with those open anyway. Once I am, a couple hundred feet off the ground, pull the RPMs back, just like we do in the Bonanza. No need to firewall that thing. And then just climb out at full pressure, full manifold pressure, so full throttle. RPM is in the green, so just below 2,500. I'll show you the configuration that I have right now. Now again, this is like early days in Cardinal flying, so it's not going to be super perfect. Oh, I guess my camera lady will help with that. So 3,000 feet. Give you an idea of the altitude. Manifold pressure is at about 23 inches there. RPM is just under 25 at 2460-ish. And if you look here on this beautiful Apollo GX55, our cruise speed is 190, or not 198, 128 over the ground. So from a passenger perspective, how does this compare to the Cherokee 172 or the Bonanza?
Okay, well, the Bonanza is the best.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right, 360, climb maintain 6,000.
But I would say this is, the Cardinal is, that's what this is.
Yeah.
The Cardinal is definitely my second favorite. It's like surprisingly large in here, and I feel like we are both very tall people, but we have a lot of space here. And I agree with you that normally I am a low wing kind of gal, but the fact that this plane doesn't have the strap bars makes it visually more appealing. And the high wing, especially today when it's hot, is like so nice for some shade. And I still have like a really great view.
Yeah.
It's almost like being in a car where you have like such a great
just
view.
perfect 360 view.
Yeah. And it, it's a little bit faster than the Piper and all that jazz.
835 advising you get the field.
Cardinal 835, field in sight with the weather.
835, thanks, Center Service Terminus, Squawk VFR, frequency change approved, good day.
I'll talk to you later, Cardinal 835, thanks.
Charlie, traffic, 11.
All right, let's land. Oceanside traffic, Cardinal 34835, turning a final 25, full stop, Oceanside.
Oceanside traffic, White Diamond, taxiing back for 25.
Oceanside traffic, Skylane 33 to Delta, right crosswind for a right downwind departure to the north for Delta.
All right, let's go full flaps. A little bit steep there. The clouds did not do us any favors.
But as long as we're in safe.
Yep. So it definitely does have that kind of 172 tendency to just continue to fly. And you got to get the nose up. So I am curious what that looks like from the outside. Because I am assuming that that was really flat. If it was terrible, I just cut away from that. Ready?
Yep.
Yeah, I know. It's good until you're in cruise. Okay, speed is live, temperatures, pressures are good. There is rotation. And there is your friendly reminder to put your gear down. There's your dad. So being able to, you know, close the cowl flaps and pull the prop back and pull the throttle back to get more economy out of it, you've got more options and more levers to pull and push and whatever that you don't get in a 172 or a Cherokee that I like. The difference that it makes in the grand scheme of things is very little. It's still a 180 horsepower engine, so it's not going to do Bonanza or Comanche speeds. But it is better than 172 and Cherokee speeds for the amount of gas that you're using. And for two people with a ton of crap in the back, really, it's a perfect little kind of regional travel plane to be able to go down to San Diego or go up to Monterey or out to Phoenix in a couple of hours. It's perfect for that. So we're gonna fly into John Wayne now. I haven't looked at the footage of the landing at Oceanside, but one of the things about the seating position and the rake back windshield and kind of the more like sitting in front of the leading edge of the wing but kind of reclined means that the actual sight picture when you land is very different than I'm used to in a 172 or in a Cherokee. So a key thing on these landings is to give more, is to flare more than you're used to in those other airframes. I love how Julia's just like getting all the Spike Lee angles right now.
I'm just giving you options.
I know, I like it. I'm just chatting away and you're just getting every...
Well, I don't know what you want or what you don't want.
No, I'm not criticizing at all. I'm thanking you. So coming into land, you know, there are things that you got to do, you know, like the Cherokee has carb heat, but you never use it because of the location of the throttle body or the carburetor. So carb heat, kind of leave the prop where it's at, and that's kind of it. So it's a fixed gear. Obviously, you don't have to worry about gear, which we learned about the importance of that out at Oceanside. Aero geared up and shut the runway down for a while. So I'm going to focus on flaring more than I think I need to normally coming into John Wayne. And this is also a live look at probably an Instagram reel being made. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm actually really interested in looking at the footage from the external, from the 360 camera, hoping that does work. Because you know, I'll be able to see exactly how high that nose wheel is on landing, on touchdown, to see if I'm, you know, flaring enough. So that'll be a good thing to keep an eye on. But yeah, so we're maybe 10 miles away from Signal Peak, and we'll see you probably on short final or cue some little montage time lapse thing.
Go ahead.
Okay, and make our offset base turn here. Okay, lights on, make sure it's full.
Roger.
I'm gonna go full flaps, 30. All right, now let's see if I can keep this flare high enough.
2903 Alpha, John Tower, roger.
A little bit of a right crosswind.
Cherokee 03 Alpha, room 2 left at Kilo, line up and wait.
Can't tell. I can't tell if that was good or
Cardinal
not.
835, stay
Felt good.
Parked at J's, Cardinal 835.
Cardinal 835, turn right at hotel, hold short of room 2 right, remain this frequency.
Right at hotel, hold short 20 right, we'll stay with you, Cardinal 34835. I think it was okay.
I think it was.
But it's hard to tell when the constraint is nose. Like you can land flat. Like I think the speed was okay, so it like didn't bounce or do anything goofy.
Cardinal 835, now cross range 2 right hotel, contact ground the other side.
All right, cross 20 right at hotel, ground the other side, Cardinal 34835. Thanks. So it'll. I'm curious, like how close or not I was. Felt like it was fine, but. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. This is such a fun plane. It is interesting, it performs well for what it is, and we're excited to do a lot more trips and hopefully share a lot of them with you guys. So thanks for watching, thanks for liking and subscribing and all that crap. Hope to see you in the next one, and please let me know in the comments what you thought of this video. If you have any thoughts on Cardinals or any other information that I got wrong or left out. Like how to taxi straight. It's like really sensitive rudders. Just so you know.
Everything is sensitive.
Yeah, very communicative. Cool. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great one. See ya.